Hello everybody and welcome to the Talladega Super Speedway here in Talladega, Alabama. This is going to be round number 3 in the Budweiser All-Pro Series playoff format. I am Michael Norman, the voice of the Budweiser All-Pro Series, being joined in the booth by Mr. Seth Cole. Seth, well, you're still in the playoffs. Made it to round number 3, so it has 7 other drivers besides yourself, and starting things off at Talladega, that's a bit of a wild card for this round.
It is a wild card. It's absolutely right. I mean, a lot of times we end up seeing the super speedways be used as like a last-ditch opportunity to advance into the next round of the playoffs. But here, those 8 drivers, as you mentioned, moving on to battle for the championship, they've got an opportunity here at a track where we basically say, if you cross the line to take the green flag, you're in the hunt to win the race. Anybody in the field can win, depending on the circumstances, with how much of an X factor these super speedway races are. And, think about it. We could end up having a driver here today, if circumstances work out, already lock themselves into the Final Four to compete for that championship, regardless of what happens in the next 2 weeks. I guarantee you, those 8 drivers, they are gunning for that checkered flag here today. But, oh yeah, by the way, there's another 32 drivers in the field that also want to end out the season with a checkered flag. They don't have a championship to battle for anymore.
Yeah, and that's very true as well. And none other case in point than Dylan Young. Dylan Young, two wins in a row, back-to-back race wins at Kansas and Las Vegas the last 2 weeks. He's looking to put it 3 for 3 here in the last 3 races here. Now, Seth, you have the point standing to it there. Let us know who's all advanced into the round of 8.
Yeah, so far, I guess we'll call them the survivors that are going to be taking part in today's Talladega race with a chance of maybe advancing to the Final Four. Mrs. Consistency herself, Madeline Crenshaw, has been absolutely stellar in that Spire Motorsports Chevrolet. She moves on. How about the 2311 cars? You got Benjamin Miles and Nathan Norman, but they both advance here into this final 8. You've got Trey Wright representing Front Row Motorsports in the 38, Roberto Crown Jr. in the 16 for Colleague Racing. We know Colleague is always strong at the super speedways. Laura Chung, very impressed. Single car entry. I know they might get a little bit of help out of Stuart Haas Racing, but the BJ McLeod Motorsports number 78, Laura Chung, has been absolutely stellar this year. You mentioned the 24, Seth Cole, moving up from Hendrick Motorsports, and Stuart Haas Racing, their lone final entry after Jessica Schulten was eliminated last week. Jonathan Zorlin going to be moving on here to this round of 8. I mean, there's still some heavy hitters here. Any one of these drivers you can make a clear case for right now could be a champion by the end of the season, but they've got this final round of 3 races to get through.
Absolutely, and what better place to start it off than here at Talladega? We talked about Roberto Crown Jr. He has won 2 of the last 3 restrictor plate races. Could you make it 75% here by going 3 for 4? We'll find
interesting. The guy that ended up winning that other race that you weren't talking about, Crown Jr. winning, he's our pole sitter.
Yeah. Never count out any of the RCR cars, too, especially here at Super Speedways. We're going to go trackside now, get the opening ceremonies underway, and get this race going green.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of free and the home of the brave, brave,
For the most famous words in auto racing, nationally syndicated radio hosts Rick and Bubba. For racing fans and Rick and Bubba fans everywhere, gentlemen, stay in it and start your engines!
Engines are fired here at Talladega, and Seth, this is going to be a very, very, very fun race. We've got 38 laps broken down into 3 stages of, I believe it is 12, 12, and 14 in length.
And again, I said this back in the previous time I was up here in the booth. I think that here more than ever in the playoffs is when it is the most crucial to get those stage points. Maybe no more so than here in this third round, because we talk about how unpredictable Talladega is. There's no guarantee that you're going to be finishing this race under power by the time we complete stage 2 and head into that third stage. If you can rack up some pretty good stage points, it might help counter the poor performance and not put you in as crucial of, I don't want to say a must win, but certainly need to back-to-back consistent races to end out this round of 8 in order to have a shot at the final 4.
And let us not forget the Budweiser All-Pro Series rules for super speedways. There are no damage for these cars, so if you get involved in an accident, unless you dramatically flip over and somehow get damage that shouldn't happen, you're still going to be in contention for the win unless you go laps down, which is very possible. We've seen cars stuck on get stuck on an apron before, so anything still is possible. And as much as our fuel and tire consumption is down to ×1 rather than ×3 like it usually is, so it'll make a pit stop here hopefully a little bit more rarer, so we get more exciting action. As we're heading through turns 3 and 4, what is this, 38 degrees? 38 seems like a lot. I think it's 36 degrees of banking here at Talladega.
I'm not exactly sure.
I think it's 36 here and 30. It's 36 here, 33 at Daytona, if I remember correctly.
I'll go along with that because I don't have a counter for it.
All right. And here we go, Seth. The pace car is down. Oh, wait. We got something happened back there with Trent.
Trent Dunham.
A possible mechanical failure on the number 1 car.
Well, I have to assume that with him being as far back as he was on the grid, they might have had some issues in qualifying. It might be translating over here to them rolling off the grid.
Non-playoff point will follow up on that as we are getting ready here. The green flag about to come out. Green flag is out. We're underway here at Talladega.
Found it really interesting. We saw Anthony McCurry top of the board in qualifying. Remember, not only the defending Daytona 500 winner, but one of the 4 drivers that got eliminated from the playoffs last week. Sometimes we end up seeing the rare occasion where the Daytona 500 winner advances into the Final 4, but not the case here. And so Anthony, he's got kind of the pressure off of him now. He can go out and try and, like Roberto Crown Jr., be a 2-time Super Speedway winner.
We're going to see if that's going to happen. Is they're going to go 3 wide here into turns number 3 and 4. Anthony McCurry pulling out, but here comes Nick Gunther to the inside. Trent Dunham able to get that car refired and is getting back on the racetrack. He's hoping for a possible early caution flag as these drivers come off of turn number 4. 4.
3 wide there. The 11, Sebedaskan, he had no friends with him there. He got kicked up there as James Moore in the 17 also got kicked up that outside line. But you mentioned it, no damage in this race. And with there being the unlikelihood of a pit stop and this group continuing to be one big pack, you're falling back here early, but plenty of time to be able to migrate your way down to the middle, down to the bottom, and work your way back up to the front again. One thing I'm going to be interested to see here, Michael, is I remember back the first Talladega race we had, we saw the teammates and the manufacturers line up a lot Then we got to that LCQ race at Daytona, and it kind of almost looked like strange bedfellows. You had Toyotas working with Chevys, you had Fords working with Toyotas. None of the manufacturers, none of the teammates really were able to find each other. We'll see if it's a little bit more organized as far as manufacturer and team oriented here today.
And as you can see, cars hanging back, cars getting off. We're going single file, the first
We're
5
wide.
cars now. Yep, 4 wide in the back here, 3 wide mostly.
That was Daniel Voiles that was in the middle of that, I think, with Jose Mills, William Brock, and I couldn't tell which car it was on the bottom. It was either Trey Wright or Benjamin Miles, but fortunately, they thought better of it, got back to 3 wide. It's a little bit more spacious when you're 3 wide, but talked about the factor of no damage. I mean, these drivers a little bit brave to test the waters of 4 wide there, I think.
Absolutely. Here comes, look at Cole Deaver making moves up here at the front, trying to take the momentum that he has with him. This is usually a track where you see mostly where, as you pointed out, most teammates will try to work together here, and we'll see what happens. Gunther able to hold on to the lead in that number 21 car, but I mean, you got Cody Lamas up here. So far, the only Hendrick car in the top 10, but here comes Kyle Matthews down the inside there. Look at the Fords up here as well, the 34, the 14, you know, Qualls, the front row motorsports cars, they work well, they work pretty good. God, I can't speak today here at Talladega and Daytona.
Well, Qualls made his way up towards the front. Looked like his teammate Trey Wright was following him, but he's since gotten kicked up to that outside line, starting to fall back in the 3rd lane. It's interesting as we see Cole Deaver take the lead here. Apparently, I can't talk either. That's gonna be a great broadcast.
Cole Deaver.
You mentioned about the fact earlier, Richard Childress Racing, very good numbers here so far this season at Daytona and Talladega. McCurry, the Daytona 500 winner, and let's not forget, the 16 out of Colleague Racing that Roberto Crown Jr. drives, they've got a technical alliance with RCR, so keep an eye on that 3 of Cole Deaver here today. He might complete the RCR engine's sweep, if you will, at the super speedways.
That's very true. It could possibly happen, as well as here comes Benjamin Miles. A little help from Kyle Matthews in the 5, trying to get ahead of the 21 car side by side still. Can Benjamin Miles be the first playoff driver to lead a lap?
Yeah, I can only imagine what it would be like for one of our Elite 8 to be able to win here today and know that they've got 2 weeks to prepare for the season finale to battle for the championship. So you see Benjamin Miles quickly getting his way to the lead, going to get himself a bonus point for a lap lead. That could be very important further on down the road when we determine our final 4. We'll see if anybody else is going to try and make their way up here. I think the next car we would see, at least up in the vicinity of the front, is the 78 of Laura Chung, 5th or 6th car there on that inside line.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I've seen some strategies play out here. If you can notice at the top of your screen there, Jessica Shelton and Madeline Crenshaw have kind of just hung out in the back. They haven't really attempted to make their way up towards the front just yet.
Jessica Shelton, one of the drivers that was eliminated last week after the round of 12. I'm trying to recall where her victory was at. I'm not able to pull it in. I remember where the other 3 eliminatees ended up winning, but I can't remember where the 10 won at. Frazier won at Bristol. Christina Bell won New Hampshire, and Anthony, of course, won the 500 at Daytona.
I'm pretty sure that Jess won at a Kansas race. I think one of the early Kansas races. I'd have to remember, or like try to remember off the top of my head. I can't exactly pull up.
I could remember the race that Jess almost won when Frazier ended up pulling off that strategy at Bristol Dirt. We thought Jess was going to be the winner of that race, but I couldn't recall which race it was she actually got the checkered flag at.
This car is quickly approaching Trent Dunham, who was really, really, really hoping for a caution flag to come out before he got lapped. And unfortunately now, as Benjamin Miles still pulls out, they're approaching him just about in the same camera angle here.
Got maybe a half lap before they're going to catch him here. I would think they'd probably reel him in down the back straightaway.
Oh, that looks like going 4 wide.
Who knows?
Kyle Matthews up pretty much in the wall. Look at his teammate, Jovan Anderson, going to go up there and try to give him some draft.
So that's going to be maybe 4 wide, 2 rows deep down the back straightaway here. This could
wow,
be
they are moving all around up here.
And they are pinching. Jonathan Zorlin was running Christina Bell out of room, and now Colin Cropley in the 19. He's almost running into the left rear quarter panel of the 77.
Kyle Matthews trying to look for some friends here.
Well, is he looking for friends, or is he looking to get out of Dodge? He might have gone up to the lane where nobody is, trying to see if he can drop to the back.
That's very true. These cars have caught Trent Dunham, who is up to speed, but just because he had no drafting help, maybe these guys are going to pull a drafting help. Maybe they'll draft with the one.
Yeah, Trent needed a caution that lap. I honestly thought they were going to reel him in the previous lap, but he was able to keep
Oh, look
him
at
in the
this.
rearview mirror.
Trent now going to go to the inside. Laura's going to go even lower. Laura's got Poteet right behind him. Trent's just going to have to kind of fade into this, or merge into this pack.
Yeah, there was no way he was going to be able to keep the race leader behind him. They had just too much speed, too much momentum. But to your point, being up to speed now going to be able to mesh in with this lead group and could be a proverbial X factor by the end of the day if he's not able to get his way back onto the lead lap before the end of this one. But Michael, I mean, we're coming around here. Benjamin Miles continuing to control the draft. Proverbial white flag in the air here for stage 1. These would
No,
be
not
10.
yet. It's three. It's actually 3 laps to go. Completion of lap 12 is the stage 1.
Ah, okay, yes, numbers. Dylan Poteet now up here into the second spot. Bringing the 22, Henry Sanford along with him.
See if Poteet gets a run. They drew at the 45. I think got out to a pretty big lead here. Now we'll see Poteet really didn't pull out. And just as I say that,
they're not teammates, but they're Fords, and they're working together. The 6 and the 22. They've got the 4 of Zachary Fitzwater right there as well. Gonna pull up and make it a 3 Ford Mustang train on that inside line.
And then look who's peeking his way into the top 5 right there.
He's here.
Roberto Crown Jr. in the 16. Peeking his way in as Dylan Poteet's going to lead this lap. Going to open the door to the inside for Henry Sanford as the 4 is going to get stuck in the middle there. Does my heart good to see the 22 get to the lead, but I just dislike the driver behind it.
That's just rude. I appreciate the sentiment, but that's rude. I'm looking here, trying to see if there's any possibility of a playoff driver maybe leading here at the end of stage 1, since now I know the actual correct number of laps. And
we're coming to the we're coming to the
yeah,
proverbial white flag, and look who's made her way into
right on that inside line there in the 38.
Look who else is making her way toward the front. If I can find it, there it is. Maybe. Nope, we're looking at the 2, but it's right in front of the 2.
Young.
There it is.
There's Madeline Crenshaw, and you mentioned that she was kind of hanging towards the back, and now working her way up here to the front, realizing it's getting to the end of the stage, wanting to get those stage points. Madeline Crenshaw accumulated the most points of any driver back in that round of 12. Nobody won their way into the round of 8, so she was the first driver essentially locked in to this next round of the playoffs. As, look at this, even the non-playoff drivers want those stage points. Smet Ozcon, Cole Baker going to work together. A Toyota and a Chevy working against the Ford.
Yep, Toyota, Chevy, Ford back here coming to the green checkered flag. And now look at Madeline Crenshaw going to go for second place. And 11's going to quickly close the door. Samet Ozcan in the 11 is going to win stage number 1 here at Talladega. And there's a whole mess behind him.
Interesting to see who all was able to get stage points here. Trey Wright. Maybe Nathan Ormond, I think.
Yeah, you got your stage points showing at the bottom of your screen. Time to take our usual quick commercial break, and we'll be right back with more action here at Talladega. All right, we are back here at Talladega as we are starting off stage number 2. And look, as quickly as she got up here, she's going to fall right to the back again, probably on purpose. I was going to say, look who's trying to go for the lead, but really he's just trying to get back on the lead lap, and that's going to be Trent Dunham.
Of course, had that, we're still trying to figure out what the problem was. Came down pit lane.
Look at the Hendrick cars on the inside there.
Well, they were on the inside, and then Seth Cole got kicked up to the middle group. But yeah, he had the 48, the 9, and the 24 all lined up there. So one of the rare occasions so far today where we've seen teammates working together. We've seen a couple of occasions with the manufacturers working together.
Cody Lama is going to try to go way underneath. Here comes Jovan Anderson, going to stick with Matthew Rodriguez in the middle. And here comes Seman Ozkin down the inside as Anthony Mercury has made his way back up towards the front here.
One thing we talked about before we came back from the commercial break, only 2 drivers cashing in on stage points. Matty Crenshaw with 9, Nathan Ormond with, I believe it was 6. We'll see how that translates later on here in this race, and eventually later on here towards the close of the round of 8 in preparation for the Final Four. I really think that those 9 points there from Matty Crenshaw could be very important in her maybe nabbing one of those Final Four spots. As man, that was tight. Reggie Fogelman, Jovan Anderson, they nearly pinched each other off at turn 2. I thought the 9 was going around off the nose of the 20.
Very, very close here as Reggie's going to try to push the 8 of Anthony Mercury up to the lead. Look at the, I guess we could still technically for this season call it Petty GMS.
We're not going to be posh and call them the Legacy Motor Club.
Yeah. Petty GMS racing to 2 cars, the 42 and the 43 working together on an inside line.
And you got to wonder, too. I mean, there's a bunch of drivers in the field that are still competing for the championship, and they've got teammates. And you got to wonder if there was some kind of, like, meeting between all the different team members, whether it be Hendrick, whether it be Spire, Colleague, 2311 front row, as to, we know you guys want to go out there and you want to win, but let's try to do everything in our power to help that team car, that playoff car, be able to, if not win the race, at least finish well. So that way we have ourselves a guaranteed shot of being in that Final Four, competing for the championship at season's end.
Man, look at this 4-wide racing.
And they've attempted 4 wide about 3 or 4 times here back in stage 1. They've been able to make it work. A lot of distance there between those cars, not a whole lot of door banging until they get around the center of the corner here. Like Cody's trying to back out of this. Matthew Rodriguez, Seth Cole. You've got our previous Talladega winner, Roberto Crown Jr. He was the car on the inside of that 4-wide formation, and now they might be 4 wide further up. McCrory and Sanford are leaning on each other almost here down the back straightaway. They are leaning on each other.
I told you. Like the car, just like the driver. Trying to get up here, but they're making it work.
Noticing a couple of new faces up at the front of the field here, and now you've got the 99 of Charles Sanford, the purple Chevrolet on the inside line, and Jose Mills there in the 18, the Toyota Camry out of Joe Gibbs Racing.
Trying to get up here close to the front. Trent Dunham still chapped the lap down here. He definitely doesn't want to see a caution now, or unless he gets closer up to the front as we have another lead change. It's Benjamin Miles once again up here at the front.
Yeah, Miles, when he got to the front the first time, he led about 3 or 4 laps. He was doing a great job controlling the draft. So we talk about the importance of stage points. I think bonus points just as important. He's obviously got the bonus point for a lap led. If he can stay out in front for a little while here ahead of fellow Toyota Camry Reggie Fogelman, he may get that bonus point for most laps led as well.
The completion of stage number 2 will come at the beginning of lap number 25. So the completion of lap number 24 will be the green checkered flag for the end of stage number 2.
I'm very impressed how these drivers have been 3 wide, several rows deep. They've been 4 wide a few times. At one point, I think we were 4 wide, like 2 rows deep. We had about, what, was it 1 or 2 cautions in the last Talladega race? So far, we have almost eclipsed 20 laps, and we've yet to see the yellow fly, but you know that the space they're giving right now, there's going to be no space given when we get closer to the end of this race. So it's Talladega. It's outside the realm of possibility for us to fully expect that we're going to go green from start to finish. That big one usually looms when drivers least expect it.
Absolutely. Here comes a couple of Fords now on the very inside there. A couple of Stuart Haas Fords. Jonathan Zorline trying to get up here. Maybe we'll get some stage points. And Nick Gunther coming back up here as well as Ali Rain. And the only 3-time winner in the Budweiser All-Pro Series right now, which is William Brock.
Mentioned about Dylan Young. being a back-to-back winner in the last 2 races. Correct me if I'm wrong, I think he and William Brock are the only 2 drivers that have that moniker on their resume here this season. Pretty sure Brock's was his 2nd and 3rd win, I think, were back-to-back wins.
No, it wasn't back-to-back. Brock just won in the... Brock won, I believe, in the right before the chase, but it wasn't enough to put him inside. At least I think he was. Yeah, I believe he's a 3-time winner. I don't know. I gotta check my stats.
Gotta check with Kevin, the stats guy.
Meanwhile, coming down the back straightaway, Reggie Fogelman able to control the drafting right now. 3 wide behind him. Here comes the Hendrick Motorsports duo on the inside. Cody Lamas and Seth Cole. Kyle Matthews up there. So Kyle Matthews up there too, but he's in the middle lane.
The Toyotas have brought a very good super speedway package here this week. Benjamin Miles, when he got up in front, was able to control the draft not once but twice. Now Fogelman for the 2nd time out in front controlling the draft. It seems like if a Chevy or a Ford driver get out front, they're able to lead for maybe a lap and then they immediately get past. The Camrys have been able to get out in front and stay out in front.
Well, we've got 3 laps left in stage number 2. Cody Lamas using the side draft, try to get a run on the 20. We'll see if the 2 Hendrick cars will dive underneath and try to make a run. Well, Seth Cole will.
Yep.
It's getting close to that.
Colleague car instead. So you've got a Hendrick car working with a colleague car on the bottom, and a Hendrick car working with a JTG Daughtery car up on the top side. I don't think either lane's really going to get that much of a run on the 20. Watching towards the back, we saw Madeline Crenshaw ride towards the back at the beginning of stage 1 and then fight up to the front to nab those 9 stage points. 2 laps to go here in stage number 2, and she is still at the very back of the pack.
It could very well still be a bit of a possibility. She could still make her way up there. We'll have to wait and see with 2 laps to go.
4 wide again. Contact there. James Moore in the 17. Colin Cropley the 19. Looks like McCrory backed out of that to allow Cropley to come down and make it 3 wide. We have pit stops coming up here. I just saw the 24 of Seth Cole jump up to the 2nd groove as if the 20 might have had his hand out the window.
Nope, not
No,
yet.
guess not. Might have been jumping up there to maybe pick up his Hendrick teammate Cody Lamas. White flag, proverbial white flag in the air, and I'll tell you what I'm seeing here, Michael, is a lack of playoff contenders up here, at least even in the vicinity of the top 10. Nathan Norman, Trey Wright might be the only 2.
That will work out better for a lot of the other playoff drivers who got if only two of them are able to get stage points here.
True.
Reggie Fogelman able to hold him off.
Buxton to the inside there in the 15 for 2nd place, but it's about 2 car lengths back to Jovan Anderson, so he's not going to have that much of a push off this corner in an attempt to try and win this stage. Looks like Fogelman's got this in hand pretty easily through the tri-oval.
Yep.
Whoa, Nathan Norman nearly just got wrecked there by the 19 of Cropley.
Yeah, and Reggie Fogelman will win stage number 2 as they cross the line, continue going. It's now another 14-lap sprint, as you can see exactly who finished where for the stage. We're going to take another quick commercial break and be right back for the rest of the race here at Talladega.
Warning. The Duracell Cup Series data file you have attempted to access is out of date. Uploading current file now.
It's a brand new car from stem to stern, and it's never been raced at these speeds.
The next gen car is opportunity.
Everything is different with the exception of like the seat, the steering wheel, and your helmet.
Unknown creates excitement.
Welcome back here to Talladega. It's now a 13 and a half lap sprint to the finish here, with Reggie Fogelman still leading.
And looming as well. And well, whoa, Kyle Matthews. I don't think that's a pit. Yeah, it is a pit stop. I thought he almost got turned, but he's actually making a pit stop all by himself here.
I wonder if he got on the pit road. He came on the pit road pretty fast.
He did. That's why I thought he actually got hooked off somebody's bumper off of turn 4 because of how much speed he was carrying. But I'm going to guess this is a regularly scheduled pit stop, but I don't know why he would be coming down all by himself. That's not something you want to do at a super speedway. You want to come down with friends and leave with friends, because you're not going to put down good lap times all by your lonesome, as we saw case in point with Trent Dunham earlier on. Yeah, I think we got more pit stops coming here. They look pretty spaced out up here at the front, like they're giving some space.
Gonna see here, 4 wide in the back.
There we go. A lot of Fords.
Oh, Laura Chung really, dove it off into pit road there. I guess I got to keep an eye. Maybe we might see some penalties.
Yeah, you got Laura Chung, Dylan Young. I saw Dylan Pote, Jessica Shelton. Looked like RJ Bishop. Charles Sanford was down here with this group. There's Allie Rain, the 14. It was a majority of the group was Ford Mustangs.
Gonna see here as we're gonna scroll around. These cars catching Kyle Matthews here. We'll see. Trent Dunham up here still a lap down.
I think Fogelman's got to come in this lap, right? He spent a good portion of this run out in front. Oh, Henry Sanford and Jovan Anderson. Anderson's going to get the inside safer barrier with the driver's side of his Napa Chevy. Oh, and there's some more wrecking possibly there. At least some stacking up. I think that was McCrory and Cole Baker is spun around.
Yeah, and I don't think a caution is out, as most of these...
No, it's off the racing surface. That was below the yellow line, all of that, so there would not be a caution flying.
Kyle Matthews right there, if he might not be dead last, but if he pit all by himself right there, he can merge with this pack right here as the rest of these cars come on and off pit road.
Couple playoff drivers there. Miles and Crenshaw, nose to tail. Comes Daniel Voiles.
The rest of these cars, the rest of these cars coming down pit road now. Guess we're going to keep an eye with the 20 of Reggie Fogelman here and see what happens.
Watch top of your screen, see if there's any pack up to speed. Yeah, there's Laura Chung all by her lonesome, and then a group that's Dylan Young, Charles Sanford, Dylan Pote, and I think that was Kyle Matthews. They're certainly not going to catch the 20 yet, but they're able to manufacture a bigger pack. They will certainly catch him sooner rather than later. Interesting, too, because Seth Cole, saw him have that problem coming onto pit lane. He was one of 3 drivers that are going to be walking away from Talladega with stage points. Cole had 2, Madeline Crenshaw had 9, and Nathan Ormond accumulated the most, finishing in the top 10 in both stages 1 and 2, 11 stage points to carry into the remainder of this round of 8.
These cars now approaching. More cars coming off of pit lane here, but it's still going to be... It's going to be all about where they can cycle around. Not sure who the leader is or will be at the end of this, but we're going to have to wait and see.
20. Well, maybe not.
Oh, Daniel Voiles.
Wow.
Yeah, but you're going to have a big run on him.
Fogelman's going to get a nice slipstream off the back of the 62, and he'll probably be able to swing around him, but I think we got to keep an eye on that group back there being led by, I think that was Jovan Anderson in the 9. I think that's where all the momentum is, and that's where you're going to see a big pack catch up. You saw them there going through the tri-oval when the leader was crossing the start-finish line.
Look at the momentum the 20 car had to just drive by Daniel on the outside.
I tell you, these Toyotas are strong here today. I think it's Nick Gunther is the last car that's by himself, and this is the pack I'm talking about. Laura Chung, Jovan Anderson leading this group, and you've got a couple of drivers back there single filing out trying to catch. If they're double wide and 3 wide up ahead of them, Christina Bell, I think that's William Brock behind her. I think they might be able to catch up to this group. I couldn't tell who that other car was just behind them. James Moore in the 17.
Yep, this is 3 wide pack right here, but we'll see if these front cars, they're all kind of like single file. A 3-car pack right here, followed by, these 2 stragglers, and then the big pack right here. This could be very interesting if all these cars can catch up.
It's 8 laps to go. Plenty of time for this big group to reel in all of the top 5. Oh, there, Nathan Orman, Madeline Crenshaw. A couple of drivers that got those stage points could be very important because right now they're back in, I guess we'll call that pack number 3. I guess the top 3 would be pack 1. This group we're looking at is pack 2, and that group back there with the 23, the 7, and some others is pack 3.
Yep,
got 4 or 5 packs right now.
Gonna keep an eye on it here. Remember the 3 races in this round of 8. Talladega here next week at the Charlotte Roval, and then I believe it's Texas before we head over to Auto Club for the season finale.
Yeah, Texas is a very difficult 1.5-mile racetrack, obviously, with the reconfiguration of 1 and 2. Charlotte Roval, I think, is going to be either all about track position or all about pit strategy, depending on what the length of the race is. So, kind of strange to say, but I kind of feel like the Talladega race here in the round of 8 is the one place where you can really control your destiny.
Keeping an eye on the middle pack here, these cars are catching the 21 and the 4. Now the question is, will they still be able to catch the cars in front? Let's see. They've got it's going to be about 2 seconds between the 21 or the 4 and the 21. We'll see if that's increased any right now.
No, not a chance. I think that's going to be down to maybe 2 seconds.
No, it's up to 3.
Wow, it increased because I guess the top 3 have been single filed out. That's surprising.
Yeah, and they're still single file.
A Ford, a Chevy, and a Toyota.
Couldn't script that better.
No. And I guarantee you, when the white flag waves, there's no alliances. These guys right now, they're just trying to make it a 3-man fight amongst themselves.
Plus, they're approaching.
Correct me if I'm wrong. All 3 of these drivers looking for their first win on the season, so this would be huge.
Yes, they are. Daniel Voiles, his first points-paying win of the season. Charlie Buxton, his first win of the season in general, and Reggie Fogelman, the first win of his career.
A points-paying win. That means he was a dual winner?
Yes, the 62 was a dual winner.
Get the toe off the 43 of Cole Baker. That's helping them be able to gap that group behind them. Oh, this is where the problem's going to happen, though. As we get closer to the end of this race, these drivers are going to be anxious to try and battle for the lead. That side draft is going to stall them out, and that's going to help pack number 2.
Reggie going to go 3 wide.
I think that 20 might be the strongest car in the field right now.
We'll see where Buxton goes. Crossing the line, the 62 has it as they begin with, I believe that is 4 laps to go.
Gap maintained about 3.6 from the leader back to 4th place Nick Gunther. That group could get themselves within maybe a second and a half. I think they'd catch the draft of this front group and they would easily reel them in. It's just a matter of closing up that gap enough.
Reggie Fogelman takes the lead. Now with the lap car of Cole Baker now, I wonder how this is going to change everything up as they're going to try to go 3 wide here, coming to 3 laps to go.
How about the fact that we're this far into the season and Joe Gibbs Racing hasn't gone to victory lane yet? Jose Mills, Samet Oskan, Colin Cropley, and Reggie Fogelman all still have not been able to find victory lane. This could be the first win for the organization here if Fogelman's able to close out the deal, but now he's going to drop back probably to 3rd.
That pack is catching now.
Yes, they are. They closed up 9/10, almost a full second that last time by.
Still battling now. The 15 has the 43 behind him, and that's going to be a whole nother gap right here.
But they're single filed out now. That's bad news for the second pack. Only going to have 2 laps to work with this next time by.
Yep, 2 laps to go. Charles Buxton announced he will not be full-time racing in the Budweiser All-Pro Series anymore. That number 15, I believe, is going over to should be the debuting rookie Charles Belding next season. However, we will see Charles Buxton attempt to make the Daytona 500 in one of our non-points paying cars.
You know what the good news is about that driver change?
What's that?
You don't have to change the initials on the bath towels.
All right, then. We're coming to the white flag. There is now no lap car between the 15 and the other cars battling it out. White flag is in the air for Charles Buxton.
Reggie Fogelman make that 3-wide move for the lead through the tri-oval a couple of laps ago. He might be setting up to do the same thing again here. Does he push the 62 up to the back bumper of the 15, or does he go for second down this back straightaway himself?
Look at that hung.
I think if we had another lap, I think that second pack would have caught. They've sniffed the draft now.
Reggie going to go to the inside of the 62. That might be all she needed for the 15.
As the 20 can clear and maybe get a bubble push from the 43 of Cole Baker. He clears the 62. Remember, the start-finish line is down here towards turn 1, not here in the tri-oval.
Coming through the tri-oval, it's not going to be enough. Charles Buxton will win here at Talladega. Take a look at the back half of this pack here. Anthony McCurry going to come across. Looks like in the 35th position. As we wait for the stragglers to come across. Madeline Crenshaw ends up 24th. Just ahead of her, 25th, was Nathan Orman. So she just barely beat that 23 to the line.
I go back to, if you're going to have a bad finish, good to have those stage points. Both those drivers ended up getting 11 and 9 stage points here today, so that will help to, in essence, kind of make it as if those two end up finishing up inside of the top 15 in the finishing results.
That is, again, very true, as I save this right here. Season 13. Talladega playoffs. Charles Buxton gets his first win of the season. Reggie Fogelman a very close second. Daniel Voiles third. And then out of that big group, Matthew Rodriguez, Nick Gunther, Henry Sanford, Christina Bell, Kyle Matthews, RJ Bishop, and Charles Sanford round out the top 10.
You got to go all the way down to 12th place Trey Wright before you find one of our Elite 8 drivers.
Actually, you're wrong. It's 12th place Seth Cole.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. The screen pixelated a little on me, so I couldn't tell the numbers up. So, yeah, Cole and Trey Wright. And Laura Chung there in 15th place before you find any of the playoff contenders. None of them finished in the top 10 here today at Talladega.
Other than in the stages. You know, and then you got 3 cars that finish a lap down. Rookie Cole Baker, Colin Cropley, and, of course, Trent Dunham, who didn't even really get a shot at this race after falling a lap down with early mechanical issues. But, you know.
Run for a couple of drivers. We had high hopes for Roberto Crown Jr., and he finishes in 28th place. Jonathan Zorlin, I don't think we really mentioned him all that much today. He finishes 31st. Benjamin Miles, after he was out in front for a good portion of the race, he's finishing down in 32nd. So we're starting to accumulate a list of drivers that they need a good run next week at Charlotte Roval because they don't want to go into Texas in a must-win situation to advance into the Final Four.
Absolutely. As I am pulling up and writing down here, yes, Seth, to answer your question earlier, Jessica Shelton's win did come at the first Kansas race.
Well, there you go.
So the first Kansas race, Jessica Shelton won. William Brock's third win came at Watkins Glen. And, of course, Dylan Young back-to-back at Kansas and Las Vegas the last 2 weeks. Yep, we're going to be heading over to the road course. That will be the Charlotte Roval, where there will once again be no commentary because commentary is, for me at least, pretty boring when it's just cars going in a straight line and hardly changing positions.
I'm just telling you right now, if cars are going in a straight line at a road course, something is majorly wrong. That's a drag strip, sir. That's not a road course.
Drag strip. But you know what I mean.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do. I want to point this out, too, as I said earlier. The Budweiser All-Pro Series is usually a 38-car field. Well, in Season 14, next season, the Daytona 500 will be the only race of the season where there will be 40 cars, which means out of everyone who has signed up for the Budweiser All-Pro Series, there are going to be some names in quote-unquote go-or-go-home cars that will be battling for 2 spots, those 2 extra spots in the Daytona 500 for next season, which should make for some pretty interesting storylines. So, thank you guys so much for watching. I am Michael Norman, the voice of the Budweiser All-Pro Series. Seth, thank you so much for joining me, man. It was a fun Talladega race.
Yeah, it set the table really nicely for what should be some good races in the next couple of weeks to determine that Final Four. And in typical Talladega fashion, underdog story with a Rick Ray racing car going to victory lane. So it was fun to be a part of it.
Absolutely. We're packing things up, heading to Charlotte. The hometown for most of these race shops. It should make for some very interesting racing, at least I hope. So thank you guys so much for watching. Until we meet again.
Ole!